You are now listening to The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Corden on the One Podcast Network. Let's get it.
From NJ to BK and the world is The Box Out here to One Podcast Network. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Back again. Little vacation, little break we took. Our summer break we usually take. Joining me in a few minutes will be Jason Corden from Brooklyn, New York. A lot to get to. A lot of stuff that we missed since we've been gone. So let's get right into it. Our opening tip. Obviously, the story of the summer in sports, not baseball, not NBA free agency. I'm going to say, personally, that the big news, the big story so far this summer has been the WNBA and their current collective bargaining agreement negotiations. Now, in case you didn't know, which a lot of people may not, the WNBA Player Association opted out of their CBA last year. It expires October 31st this year. So they're playing the season going into an expiring CBA. And right now, it seems like they're not even close to being in the running for any type of agreement. The players submitted a proposal in February. The league kind of submitted a proposal in June. The All-Star game that just happened a couple weeks ago in Indiana for WNBA, they all wore shirts, the players, during warm-ups that said, "Pay us what you owe us." The crowd was chanting, "Pay us." It's a sellout crowd in Indiana. Obviously, Caitlin Clark did not play in that game. She was hurt. But sellout crowd chanting, "Pay them." That says a lot. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is saying that she thinks the deal is going to be struck by the deadline. The players are not as confident as he is right now, if you could say that. And right now, it's a cluster. You know, without a shadow of a doubt, without saying anything else, it is a cluster, and it just seems like there's so much conversation about why they shouldn't get paid, but there's no conversation as to, hey, they should get paid. I know the conversation has been they've lost money every single season the league has existed. 25 plus years, they have not turned a profit. Understood. And I think that argument is very well known in the sports business community. The WNBA has not turned a profit in any season since the inception of this league 25 plus years ago. Understood. However, at some point, when do they, I'm talking about the league, the teams, the owners, the players, when do they begin to get a seat at the table? Okay, here's why. And it's a good article. I brought it up here, and I'm gonna find how kind of the breakdown of how it all works, because what I really didn't know was that the NBA owns about 60% of the WNBA. So whatever money comes in for the WNBA, the NBA, kind of like, you know, Grandma and KGB and Rounders, Matt Damon poker movie, they take off the top, it seems like. And whatever money's left over, the 40%, hey, you guys can have this 40%. Do you? Good luck to you. And do what you can with it. All right. So we know for a fact the NBA has been running and pretty much subsidizing the WNBA since the league started in the late 90s. Got that. Cool. Now we have a mega TV deal coming up next year worth $2 billion. We have 3 new expansion teams coming out in 27, 28, 29. Each franchise paid $250 million to get into the league. I believe Toronto and Portland paid 50. All right, so you have 250 times 3, that's 750, and then you have another 100 million for the other two teams. It's $850 million that they just brought in to the league based on those expansion teams. on top of the $2.2 billion media deal that just signed for the games on ESPN, I believe NBC. I think Prime still gets their games, which I think is the Commissioner's Cup. And then Ion, they signed another deal with Ion, and Ion's ratings have been crazy on Friday nights for WNBA. So you have this influx of money coming in. Now, the argument is that they've lost between WNBA between $10 million and $40 million per season since they started. The number we don't really know because the NBA does not have to release that number, and they never have released that number. It's been speculated that the WNBA lost between $10 and $40 million. We don't know what the number is precisely, and we're probably never going to know what the number is. But I think at this point, with all this money coming in, and obviously you're not going to put all the money back in the bucket that they've lost in 27, 28 years of being a league. It's not a thing. You're not putting that money back into the jar and saying, here's the money we owe you. Let us do our thing now. Because right now, the WNBA has situated is not an independent entity. They're dependent still on the NBA a little bit. I feel like the independence is kind of growing. Right? Think of a recent college grad in their 20s. Right? They kind of figure things out. They get 25, 26. They get more independent. We can compare WNBA to someone who just got out of college and are now starting to branch out and make some more money. And I think the age kind of actually fits, oddly enough. 27, 28 age is when you kind of start to kind of figure it out. Maybe. I didn't. I have no idea. But the league is still playing at a disadvantage because the NBA still kind of holds the purse strings. The NBA still kind of holds over their head like, hey, we've lost a ton of money for you, right? You need to get that back. And I think that's what makes this negotiation so difficult because the NBA still holds so much over the WNBA. And the WNBA is playing from they're negotiating from not power, but from this is what we have. You know, this is what we have left over from the NBA. We would love to give you more money. We would love to. We don't got it, right? Because we got to give it to the loan shark in the NBA, the shy in the NBA, because they've been giving us money, right? That's the issue right now. The issue becomes, hey, do the players take what they can get, or do they go all in? And I think we're at a point where you might have to go all in because they don't really have a choice in the matter. This is the one time in the league's history that they have leverage, right? The NBA has leverage over, the players, the WNBA players have leverage over the league. Ratings are up, attendance is up, interest in the sport is up. Now, I don't care if it's because of Caitlin Clark. I don't care if it's because of Asia Wilson. I don't care why ratings are up, attendance is up, interest in the league is up. I could give a shit as to why everything's up. But it's up. And for players, not just Caitlin Clark, not just Asia Wilson, not just Breanna Stewart, not just Napheesa Kallia, but the whole league, you have the leverage now. Right? Interest in the league is high. Revenue's coming in. Owners are paying $250 million to get in. They're paying $250 million to get into this league that years ago seemed like, oh God, this league's awful. Remember the Tulsa Shock? Miami Soul, right? Remember those teams that no one really gave a shit about? The San Antonio Silver Stars, remember those teams, right? Think about where this league was, let's say 10 years ago, and how the interest wasn't there. The New York Liberty, and Jason, when he gets on, can tell you, they were playing in the Westchester County Civic Center. No offense to Westchester County, New York, but that place is not a pro team building. The Westchester Knicks play there. They're a G League team. That's about the speed of what the Westchester County Civic Center is. That's a G League team can play there because that's the perfect setting for a G League team. a professional team, a professional sporting team in the Westchester County Civic Center? Think about that for a second. Just think about that. And if you don't know what the place looks like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, and you don't live in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, look it up. It is a shithole. No offense. I saw a couple of WB events there, but it's not made for pro teams. And that's where Liberty played for a couple of years when James Dolan just stopped caring about the team and kicked them out of the Garden. I know they was doing renovation in the Garden, but you couldn't find another place. They couldn't play at like Radio City. You couldn't build a stage at the Beacon Theater. You had to put it in Westchester when no one really gave a shit. But I'm of the mind where you've had these incremental jumps, right? You have owners, for the most part. There might be some owners who are just like sketchy, but you have owners who care. You have owners who are willing to invest. You have owners who are building athletic centers for their teams in Phoenix, in Vegas. I know the size in New York want to build one, but they built like brand new locker rooms in Barclays just for the Liberty. That was their own stuff, their own training facility. Dallas, they're building a new building, new practice facilities, everything. They're putting money into their team. Golden State Valkyries, same exact thing. They're putting money into the system. So what you have is you've kind of figured it out. And don't forget the charter flights. The charter flights was a huge thing that I know we talked about on this show. They got charter flights. So now they have to sit and wait on the tarmac like everybody else. They get the flights chartered. So I think the big jump is going to be, hey, what could we do to make these players some more money? Because they deserve to make a lot more money. Hello, Brady Jason Corder from Brooklyn, New York. Jay, what's going on, bro?
Nothing much, man. How's everything going?
Things are good. I got my basement back. No more water. Pretty good.
Always a plus. Always a plus.
So I opened the show talking about the WNBA CBA and the shit show that is currently happening with said CBA. You cover the Liberty. You know WNBA better than most. What are your thoughts on all this right now?
I think it's something that the league definitely has to get resolved. I think they need to meet the players halfway. I was looking at the other day. I was looking at like the ranking of like high in terms of highest paid players, and like the average player in the league makes anywhere between 75 to 80,000, and you compare that to their NBA counterparts. I think there's room for growth on both sides where we could up that to maybe the highest. I think the highest right now is like 250. Maybe we could bump that to, I'll say, $1 million, and then in the lower end, anywhere from 250 to $500,000. I mean, because I think the next TV deal is just going to be remarkable for the league. And like you said, the CBA it's complicated, but the league is growing. We're getting more expansion. We're getting back old teams, old cities. You know, it's just a matter of time before Houston steps into the arena. Mm-hmm. But I just think the trajectory, and then we see the influx every year for the last, I would say, even maybe before Caitlin got into the league, maybe I would say the last 4 years, the growth of the NCAA women's basketball tournament to some degree has now, I would say, surpassed the men a little bit in terms of excitement and you know, drama per se. So I think the trajectory of the league is just going to catapult off of that, and eventually everybody will have to meet somewhere in the middle, and we're looking at maybe $1 million base salary for the higher player.
So Claudia Golden, who's a Harvard professor and an advisor to the WNBA Player Association, she had a quote in the Times last year that said the WNBA and the NBA resemble a joint venture in which the league's individual finances are not transparent to the public. The NBA owns around half of the WNBA and helps appropriation money between the two leagues. Last year, NBA negotiated joint TV contracts for the leagues in which Disney, NBC, and Prime agreed to pay the two leagues roughly $77 billion for the right to show the games 11 years. The gap in player salaries appears to reflect the highly unequal way that the NBA owners divide the league's revenue. I said before how, and I compared it to Grandma and KGB and Rounders. The NBA comes in and they have this money. WNBA gets this money, and Grandma comes in, oh, I'll take that. And they take their cut off the top, which leaves the league with 40, 45% of the money that they had when they started. So they're not playing the league itself, not the players. The league is coming from a place of weakness because the NBA is almost like, now we'll take our money first and then leaving whatever's left over, which is not a ton. You lost half your revenue. And almost the NBA is like, well, we're not gonna give you any type of autonomy until we get some of this money back, which seems like bullshit in hindsight.
Yeah, you would think the WNBA would call them out on that and make it be more publicly known. And to me, and you see with the players, like now we have rival leagues being formed. It doesn't seem like a lot of players want to play overseas after what happened. So it's one of those things where like I think it's going to get resolved, but it's just where do you think the pay scale will go after the next CBA?
Right now you have the highest paid is like 250.
250, right?
Give or take. I don't think the players will ask for like $1.2 million, $1.5 million.
Not yet.
I think they're asking for, listen, if the highest is 250, double it to 500. Okay. Right? You have this money coming in. You have a $2 billion TV deal. You have another deal with Ion, which is kind of a side deal, which is making more money. You have 3 new teams that paid $250 million to get into the league. So that's $750 million there on top of the 50 from Toronto and Portland. So it's $850 million that you brought in from here, $2.2 billion from here. I don't see what the big deal is. Like, yeah, it's not even half a year, right? You're paying 45 games. We're not asking for $1.5 million. I think the players said that. The players like, we just want to be paid fairly. And I think that's going to be the end game. End game is give us $500,000 top salary for now. Mm-hmm. When we come back later, it better go up some more. But I think a double up seems like what should happen.
I agree.
But it's one of those things where, the October 31st is the drop dead date. Do you foresee a work stoppage happening? Because the players are not happy. And it really seems like they're dug in here.
I think a work stoppage would be bad for the league, especially because their season ends as the NBA season begins. So that might be a bad spot. I think it's also funny how their CBA ends towards that time of the year anyway. Like had this happened before the season, mm-hmm. They would have had a better case in my opinion. But I think if they do a work stoppage towards the end, as the NBA season unfolds, as football season unfolds, it's gonna look bad for them.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes. Kathy Engelbert seems very confident that this is gonna get done. I'm not sure on this one. She seems like it's gonna get over. There was a proposal from the players in April. The league came back with a counter proposal in June. The players were not happy. They met during All-Star weekend. A lot of players showed up to that negotiation, and a lot of them said it was a waste of their goddamn time.
As those All-Star T-shirts showed.
Listen, and I'm glad I was saving this for when you got on because I know you're like me. You're on X. Mm-hmm. Are you on Blue Sky? Have you made that switch?
I have not made the switch to Blue Sky. I'm working on it.
All right, Blue Sky.
I'm actually starting to play with Threads now. Threads is actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. Very engaging site.
I will try that. But the argument is, and X obviously is just right wing bullshit. Mm-hmm. They lost money. Why should they get any money? That's the argument. The argument is, they've never been profitable, which is a known fact. WNBA has not made any money.
Right.
But is this not the time with all this money coming in and the popularity and the ratings and the attendance? This seems like the best time because that leverage, the players now have that leverage that they didn't have before.
Yeah, and this is probably where they waited the opportunity to strike while the iron's hot. Now is like you said, now is definitely the best time for them to want to engage, and they got everything back in them: popularity, attendance. I think I used to tell you before, the Liberty would only open up the top level for the big games, but now every game is opened up, and every game is, I won't say a sold out, but it's definitely more than Nets attendance. They will never admit that, but it's definitely more than a Nets game attendance. So I think the league is definitely a good space, like you said earlier before I jumped on. Everyone's getting a lot of teams are getting practice facilities. The Liberty are getting their own practice facilities. They're not going to even be sharing stuff with the Nets in a couple of years. So I think the growth is there. Like I said, the next influx of talents is there. They're trying to set up for everyone where the guys that are still in the league now can eat, and the future of the league can grow. So I think they will meet somewhere halfway down come October.
Yeah, I was talking about how you have all these owners like the Liberty. Ishbia in Phoenix. Dallas is getting their own facility and a new everything essentially in Dallas. And to think where the league was 10 years ago when you
That was
had
5 years ago.
5 years. I'm going back to like the Tulsa Shock,
Mm-hmm.
the San Antonio Silver Stars, and there was another team that just kind of went away. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Monarchs.
The second run. Well, that was early. I'm talking about like that midway. Like I know the Monarchs went away, the Comets went away, Cleveland Rockers went away, but I'm talking about like Detroit Shock won their titles, moved to Tulsa,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Tulsa's coach and or GM was Nolan Richardson from Arkansas,
Mm-hmm.
and no one cared about them at all in Tulsa.
All.
And then I mentioned the Liberty playing at the Westchester County Civic Center.
Oh my God! I was looking at some pictures the other day. Woo! I'm gonna send you them so you can put on the IG. Woo!
Oh no! Well, here's the thing: the Westchester Knicks can play there. That's their speed. A pro team, should not be playing at the Westchester County Civic Center. I'm sorry. Like I've been there for WWE live events. That place is not great. I don't care how much money they put into it for the Knicks. That place is a lack of a better term, a shithole.
I've seen high school gyms look better.
So it's like it's gone up. We're at the point where it's time. I know they got more money before, but it is time to start paying them as such. You want them to play more games. You got more teams coming in. That means more games.
Yep.
You got to up it. And if they don't, these players are not. I don't think they're not fucking around. They're going to sit out and say we're not playing, and that's when the conversation really starts up. The players are selfish. Blah 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 blah. And it's all going to go to the players, not the ownership or not the league at all.
Nope.
So
again, it doesn't help that they just got that new TV deal either. So
no, and the players are seeing it like there's money coming in. Like we know there's money coming. No, we're not going to sit here and just like, okay, you'll take a little bit. No, we want give us 45-50% of revenue. Share it with us like the NBA guy. NBA is 50-50. You may not get 50-50, but damn, can I get 55-45? Can I get something on this?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens going forward. Updating since we've been off a couple weeks. Tell you about the Liberty because they started to look good now because they got John Quell back. Brianna Stewart's hurt, so we'll see how far that is. But a big signing, Emma Messiman. I'm starting to think that they might have figured it out, but I think Stewie getting hurt might kill him.
I think Stewie. Well, they said it wasn't the worst case scenario, so Stewie probably won't play in this the 4-game road trip. But I think getting Jones back helps a lot. I like where the team is heading. They weathered the early storm, and we'll see what happens. I think I still have them favored to repeat, but we'll see because I think the Lynx have came back a little bit down to the pack as well, so it favors the Liberty right there.
So Liberty on right now at the end of 1. They are down by 12 to the Dallas Wings as we speak right now. So great start tonight. So right now, look at the standings. Obviously, Minnesota number 1 in the league, 22-5. The Liberty 17-7, 6-4 in the last last 10 games. To think they were undefeated like a month ago.
To be fair, they've definitely the competition has definitely stepped up from that early stretch where they were like 9-0.
I mean, we did say like the schedule was very advantageous to them early on. So I think that was an inflated record. In third, the Phoenix Mercury. I was under the impression that they would stink.
Same here.
And they lost Brittany Griner. Diana Taurasi retired. They were kind of resetting it all up. And it just seemed like, it's going to be a rebuild year to kind of reconfigure, kind of like what Seattle did after Sue Bird retired. They'll be bad for this year. They'll be competitive the next year. Phoenix kind of retooled and said, all right, this is who we are now. And they're third in the league. Are they as scary as they seem, or is it just a matter of they traded for one of the best players in the league, and this is what it is?
I think they definitely traded for one of the best, and this is what it is. And I think they said, they're a championship organization, so they know how to weather storms. And everyone thought it would have been a down year, and they're proven otherwise. But I still like the Aces over them. So it's one of those things. Once the Aces start getting together, hey, even in Indiana, if they get their act together when Caitlin comes back, I favor them over the Phoenix. So Phoenix is in a good spot right now, but I'm not saying this fool's goal, but we'll wait and see. And shout out to Rossi. I didn't know she has a movie coming out.
Wait, she does?
She has a movie. I got invited to a premiere next Monday. She has a movie coming out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
On Amazon at that.
Amazon's be showing everything.
Mm-hmm.
They even got the substitute movies. I was like, is that substitute part 2? I'm like, I'm gonna rock this tonight. School's out. What's up? Yeah, Satu Sabali, they traded for her from the wings. She's averaging 18. Dawana Bonner, which we'll talk about right now, that whole situation coming back. You don't want to talk about players because we talk a lot about Marina Mabry and how she's all over the place. Bonner leaves and then comes back and says she would not take back anything she did. But she asked this team that was looking for something else. So Kalia Copper is great, but you need something else. Mm-hmm. Alyssa Thomas is great, but you need something else. You get Bonner back. I think Bonner makes them a bigger, a more interesting team down the stretch, especially with her playoff experience.
Oh, definitely. And hey, listen, she's standing on business. She's standing 10 toes down on what she said. You got to respect that. No backtracking over here.
Do you know?
A little bit.
I just have an issue of how she did it. Okay. And I know when under the team was like, hey, it is what it is. We get it, blah, 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 blah. But it just seemed kind of sketchy how it all happened and how you just kind of leave and go, it ain't the right fit. But you made the decision to go.
Right.
That's my big problem there. Like, you made the decision. You finished that decision. You finished the season out.
Yep.
The other team we'll talk about, and we'll talk about Seattle. They're kind of in the mix. Seattle, Indiana, Atlanta is kind of in that midway point. Caitlin Clark out again. Is this the issue now? Because Caitlin Clark, this is the third time she's been out for 2 or more games this season. Are we seeing the start of something bigger with Caitlin Clark not being able to handle, the rigors of a WNBA season?
It could be because it's starting to become a very, ugly habit now. I can't believe she missed both Liberty games, so I didn't get a chance to see her play this season. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. But I just think it's something they need to monitor. I'm not sure where does she go from here in terms of do you, in terms of her workload, or she might want to be more of a distributor than, jacking up threes all the time. We'll see. But I think it's something that she probably is aware of now. Like, hey, this has been a very injury-riddled sophomore season.
Yeah, she didn't play in an All-Star game. She dropped her team, didn't play. I'm of the mind where this might scare the league a little bit. Because she's missing games against the Liberty, big market. She's missing TV games. She missed the All-Star game that was in her town of Indianapolis. I think the league's going to look at this and go, okay. And I think those whistles, they're going to increase. They're going to be a little more careful with Cece and just go back up because we don't need that right now.
I can see that. I can see that happening.
Because you see it now. It's like this is what it is. So I think this could be a really, really big thing. August 7th is the WNBA trade deadline, so obviously moves made. Marina Mabry's probably going to leave again. ESPN had a really cool article about 4 trades that they want to see, and I just pulled it up. They mentioned Mabry going to Seattle. Now, Seattle having a good season. Mabry's good.
Well, yeah.
But she has some issues. Is bringing that into Seattle's locker room worth what she can do on the court, or is this something you, as a GM, would stay away from?
If you think you have a legit shot and nobody at the top scares you, you bring her in and see what happens. Not say I would do it, but if you really think that in your heart of hearts you're the 3rd best team in the league and you have a puncher's chance, why not? So
a trade that's not in this article, but I'm going to talk to you about. So Kayla Thornton, former Liberty player, with Golden State, leading Valkyries, very surprising. They got 11 wins already. I thought they have 11 wins the whole season. They got 11 right now. She's out for the remainder of the year. Right now, Golden State sits in 9th. Is this a situation where you go, we're doing a lot better than everyone thought we would. Let's roll the dice and see if we can get maybe not a superstar, but get someone the caliber of a Kayla Thornton and move her into her spot to maybe have a sneak into that last spot in the playoffs.
I don't see why not. You got the fan base behind you. You're definitely the surprise of the league. If you can find ways to slide in and make the playoffs in your first season, that would not only look good for you, but it also look good for the league in terms of the Portlands and Torontos and everybody else coming behind them. So I say go for it.
Yeah, I'm curious about this trade deadline. And like we talk about trade deadlines, and Major League Baseball has theirs coming up on the 31st this week. Sometimes they're either very exciting or they're just like, yeah. Like the NBA trade deadline was like, yeah. So I'm curious to see kind of what happens because you have a lot of teams not at the Lynx Liberty stage, but kind of below them who are like, if we get one move, we can maybe not beat Minnesota and New York, but compete with them in the playoffs. And I'm curious to see like who's really thinking that way or who's like, let's call the dogs off or let's start all over again. Yeah.
Who's going to be this year's Connecticut Suns?
Agumawale does not seem like she can play with Paige Beckers. Is that a move that Dallas makes and says, you know what? It ain't working. And say, let's get some picks. Let's get some more players and build around Paige.
Paige, yep.
Yeah, or continue to force this and see if it can work at some point.
No, I definitely think they should move off and just, build that future up.
So I'm curious to see kind of what happens in the trade deadline. Next topic. Did you watch any of Summer League?
I watched very little. I did see
your face is like.
I think I saw a little bit of the Knicks and Boston play. And first of all, how did Charlotte win this whole thing? I don't
know. I
saw no minutes of Charlotte play. None.
Yeah, hold on. See, now you got me. I'm gonna look at their roster real quick because I'm like, you're right. Because I'm like, I saw the championship game was on.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it on, and then went, "Get the fuck out of here!" And I turned the TV off. I'm like, I'm not doing it. What am I doing? Like, I'm not that basketball starved to watch the NBA Summer League. I'm good. Their roster: Concanoople, obviously, first round draft pick. Sion James, Damian Ball, Ryan Kalbrenner from Creighton, who's really good. I love that guy. PJ Hall, DeJuan Harris Jr., James Banks, Jalen Sims, MJ Walker, Josh Duro, KJ Simpson, DJ Rodman, no relation. Today, Selwyn, Liam McNeely. So I'm assuming Canoopel and McNeely led the way for him.
Okay.
Based on these rosters. But bigger question, what do you do with NBA Summer League? Because obviously the players show up and like, the whole Charlotte Hornet backcourt was front row for the semifinal game. The players like going because it's Vegas and they get to hang out and and ice out and chill out. But as for the fans, not just there but at home, what do you do to make Summer League a little attractive?
I think one thing you do is you don't have it right after the season ends and right after the NBA draft. I say Summer League and all actually should be an August event. It should be an August event. Let the players get a little acclimated with their new organization. Mm-hmm. Get them. They'll spend a little time with them. Get to know let them know the facilities at least before you ship them out to the Thomas and Mack Center. Or the
pavilion.
Or the pavilion, right. So that's one of those things where I think I like the idea of Summer League. I like it for the developmental of the first and second year players. And as we keep, we're in this 24 cycle where we get new stars or potential stars, and you kind of want to see them, glimpses of them. So I definitely think there's a revenue and there's a place for it. I just think it should be in August, not July, not back to back to back.
Well, wouldn't it make more sense if you said, let's have it in August, and in that time, who's going to training camp, because training camp's usually September. Right. So you want it closer to training camp, so okay, you're coming to training camp.
Exactly.
Instead of you like, okay, cool, it's July. Go be safe and not work out, and we'll see you in a month and a half.
Yep.
It seems like a real risky proposition to send them home and hope that, they don't get in trouble, they don't get hurt, nothing crazy happens. Instead of saying, okay, you're leaving Vegas and you're going straight to the facility. We'll meet up with you in a week. Get ready, go rent an apartment. You're on a team training camp. It makes more sense to do it that way.
It makes a lot more sense to do it that way.
So I'm very curious to see like what changes are made, because you can't. I mean, it's the game. You can maybe fiddle around with some rules,
Right?
make it more exciting. Maybe do the Elam ending. That would be cool. But there's nothing you really do with Summer League. It is what it is at this point. So I tried. I watched Nets Knicks, and it's like, and then the Nets didn't play. All 5 of their rookies they drafted didn't play. I'm like,
crazy. This is the whole purpose of them. They were supposed to be the darlings in Summer League, but we'll digress.
Well, the problem is I think they all played the first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had like 5. They all played the first 2, and then they sat them all the rest of the time. I'm like, so they just in Vegas chilling, like just hanging out on the bench and bullshitting. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Now we're gonna play the guys that, like, whatever. All right, in college, I know we're moving fast because listen, it's summer for us. It's our vacation. Yep. It is dead. WNBA obviously keeps us going. We had a whole half-hour conversation about that, but besides that, ain't shit going on right now. Basketball, to be completely blunt.
Dog days of summer.
Dog days of summer. President Donald Trump, he signed an executive order last week that seeks to empower federal agencies, including the U.S. Department of Education, which disperses funds to public universities, to help enforce new provisions on athletic scholarships and pay-for-play licensing deals for athletes. The order directs the nation's largest athletic departments to maintain certain numbers of scholarships for women's and Olympic sports, good, and seeks to rein in the lucrative name, image, and likeness deals that have dramatically transformed athletic compensation in recent years. So now we have an executive order from the president, which means nothing. Executive orders are just something he signs. But it seems like the NCAA they're really going to Congress and the president saying, we need your help.
We need your help. They're making too much money. They're making too much money. They have too much control. We don't like the Saban met with the president. Is this a case of the NCAA? This is their last stand, essentially. They got to go to the president. They have to go to the Republican counterparts, because the Democrats like, free market, homie. You don't like regulations? We don't like them here either. Do you? Is this it for the NCAA? This is their last play. This is Custer's last stand. This is it. This don't work. It's about to be open the floodgates. This is Nick Saban and all those guys calling in the one last favor to Uncle Donald to see if he can regulate what's going on. But I don't think it's gonna work. I'm all for players getting paid, getting their worth. And some of them know they're not gonna be pro, so this is a very great, lucrative opportunity for them. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where, and I spoke to the athletic director at Monmouth and at NJIT. So I did a story, as my phone rings right now. So I did a story about, I'm working on a story about how the House settlement kind of affects the smaller D1 schools in New Jersey. So Rutgers obviously is not included in the Big Ten. I think they get the full conference payout finally next year. So they'll be a full-fledged member of the Big Ten and get their money, their TV money. But in Jersey, you have NJIT, you have St. Peter's, you have Monmouth, you have Rider, and you have, I think I'm missing another school. NJIT, Rutgers, NJIT, Monmouth, St. Peter's, NJIT. There's another school I'm missing somewhere in here. But I'm interviewing those ADs, asking them how it's going to affect them. And the NJIT AD pretty much said, listen, we need Congress. Yeah. Congress has to step in because it's insanity. Monmouth's AD said the only reason she really wants Congress involved is because there's market volatility. And she said that, and I'm going to talk to her again because I wanted to kind of focus on that. There's so much volatility regarding how much this player's worth compared to this player, how much this player worth at this school compared to this player at this school. Is this a matter of the ADs not wanting to put the work in to figure it out, or is it a matter of they're right? There is this volatility where you're going to overpay for someone that you should be overpaying, but you have to do it because you have to keep up everybody else.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where, like, I think it's best that we continue the way it is right now. Let everybody eat, not try to really structure. But do you think this would deter a lot of folks to like wanting to go pro in certain sports early?
Yeah, I think who was the North Carolina center a couple years ago?
Okay.
I can't remember his name. He said he could have came out his junior year, and he said, I was making $2 million at Carolina. I stayed. So he's like, why not? I get my degree. I'm making $2 million, and I'm a senior. Like, I just hang out and have a good time and like finish my final year of college. You might see a lot of that. I also think this might be an advantage to a lot of mid-major schools because all the money is going to go to the quarterbacks, the running backs, the DNs, right, the edge rushers at those big schools. Meaning the pot is going to be depleted, and those other 4-star recruits who aren't not getting that money aren't going to want to go to Alabama and wait. And they might choose to go to a UAB, a Memphis, a Washington State, maybe for a little less money.
Everyone's not as privileged as Archie Manning to sit 2 years, but collect what I think he was collecting like $2 million in NIL
to sit. Just to sit. That's the crazy part. He was sitting for 2 years and made $2 million. I feel like a lot of those players are going to siphon to the smaller schools and be, hey, we don't have the money that Alabama has, but we can give you $500,000 and you're going to play right away. And you could be the giant slayer.
Up your stock, yep.
Yeah, you can be the giant slayer, and we can kill Alabama, and we could, well, metaphorically, we can kill Alabama. We can kill those schools because we got you, 4-star recruit from Texas, who the Longhorns ran out of money on and couldn't get you in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's an undercover thing that it really could affect mid-major, small group of 5 schools to say, we got this guy because, Michigan ran out of money. And we just happen to have $1 million from our trustee who happened to own a Bojangles.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. Bruce, what's going on? Finally getting to the chat. Bruce, what's going on? Hope all is well done in Florida. Dad, what's up? How you doing? So Trump signed the EO. Who gives a shit? Doesn't mean anything. It's a piece of paper. No one gives a shit. Final topic of the night. Luka Doncic.
I saw the pictures.
My dog. Yo, I'm like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, damn, look at pause. Look good. Okay, cool. Is this gonna affect anything? No. Like, what changes here?
I think it's gonna be more fluid, more quicker. He'd probably be more durable. I think this is a good thing. I think this is him, hiking on those hike trails in LA. I think LA might be influencing him a little bit. I don't think it has anything to do with LeBron or his camp or whatever. I just think he's I think he's finally embracing, hey, I'm about to be the face of one of the 2 best franchises in all of basketball. So I think he's embracing where he's at right now.
Money extension is a good diet. I agree with that.
That too.
Well, and we didn't really talk about this a lot because we've been off. He's the face of the Lakers going forward.
100%.
Is it me or does LeBron just seem real salty about that fact?
This is karma for LeBron. LeBron came into LA. I don't know if it was all about championship aspiration, more it was for Hollywood games. And now the organization it's got better structured, and they got a younger franchise player. So LeBron seems a little salty. And
that he opted in, which was stupid because you opted in. No one's going to get you now. No one's going to make that deal. Take on the $52 million. The Lakers are going to eat the money. To make a trade work, the team you go to would have to give up literally the entire roster to make the money and make everything work.
Riley's not doing that. I don't know if Cleveland's doing that. I don't see a landing spot for him anyway.
No, Bruce. Meanwhile, LeBron's hanging out with Jokic's agent. I can't see LeBron in Denver.
No, people are speculating that he might try to get Jokic to come to the Lakers.
Okay, so another ball-heavy person, because Jokic also needs the ball in his hands. So you're gonna have three people on a team that really needs the ball in their hands constantly. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
No sense.
It is the wow. If that's the case, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my shit. Nikola Jokic ends as a Laker. Quick update: 53-31, Dallas on top of the Liberty in the second quarter. 94-71, the Storm on top of the Sun. We could just say the Sun season's over. I don't think we can talk about Connecticut Sun the rest of the season. I think we're
well, they had a good win the other night. I think they won by like 25.
Great. Great. Good job. So real fast before we go, the death of Hulk Hogan. I know Bruce has mentioned in the chat real quick. Someone asked me about it, and I said it's complicated.
It's very complicated.
Because
as I wear a Sheik shirt.
I want to say what he says, but I'm gonna keep it to myself. I think at my age, I've learned to like separate everything. Like R. Kelly was a piece of shit, but Step in the Name of Love is my shit. That's my joint. Right? I can listen to Billie Jean all day and not think about the Michael Jackson shit. Hulk Hogan's a different monster to me because I feel like we grew up with Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And it just always seemed like Hogan was just like, all right, cool, he's down, blah, blah, blah. And then it wasn't just the fact of what he did in that video and what he said. It's how many times he said it. And it's him just coming out saying, yeah, I'm a little racist. I'm like, that's what threw me about the whole Hogan thing. So it's hard to separate that because he literally just said the N-word about, 16 times? And just admitted he was racist. And then, became a MAGA darling, whatever. But what were your feelings when this all happened? I know text Thursday.
Very similar. But you know what? I was kind of out on Hogan before the race mixtape came out. I thought about when I was a young Hulkster back in the days. I was like, wait a minute, why is Macho Man the bad guy? He's hitting on his girl, trying to steal his girl. This does not feel right to me. So that's when the tweak in the armor started to surface itself, and someone put it very poetically. We know about the racist comments. We know about that. We know who. He's pro MAGA, this and that. But damn it, he wouldn't even put over Ozzy Osbourne, who died 24 hours before he died.
I know, right?
It was like Ozzy died and nothing. It was all about Hogan, and that was also my problem with Hogan. He never wanted to put somebody over. Like I felt like Jake the Snake, Mr. Perfect, Paul Orndorff,
Bret Hart.
None of the WrestleMania 9 will go down forever, in my opinion, as the worst WrestleMania ending of all time. Like even Bret losing, you still had to go over, and Yokozuna. I feel like Hogan was very self-centered, but he did revolutionize the industry twice, and that's something you can't take away from him. Do I think he's a piece of shit? In some aspects, yes, but in terms of where wrestling is today, back then, he's the Babe Ruth of wrestling, and you can't take that away from him.
Listen, I say it all the time to people. If I don't like something, I'm like, doesn't work for me, brother. I say it constantly. That's Hogan's thing.
Why am I booing the Macho Man? The Macho Man did nothing wrong in this situation. This guy was lusting for Elizabeth.
See the lust of your eyes, brother. I'm like, okay, cool, but it was one of those things where I'm like, no big, like, obviously Michael Jamal Warner dying. I was like, damn, and how he died and where he died, and that was tough.
Yeah.
Ozzy dying was tough because like he just had his last show, and it was like big. I'm like, oh, Ozzy, and like Ozzy, like we're black men, we love Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
But then Hogan happened, and I'm like, happens in threes. Like, who's gonna be the third?
Yep.
And then he happened. I was like, eh. But Chuck Mangione died. I felt more bad about Chuck Mangione, the jazz musician, than Hulk Hogan did. I was like, that's my third.
When Hogan died, when Hogan died, the first things out of my mouth was like, damn, Ric Flair and Vince McMahon are really outliving everybody.
Bruce, he's not the Babe Ruth. He's the Barry Bonds wrestler.
Well, oh no, Barry Bonds never snitched on his dealers. Hogan snitched on everybody.
Well, when Hogan died, the first thing that popped in my head, and I said it out loud. No one knew it where I was. Coming for you. I'm like, and I said it out loud, and everyone's like, "What?" I'm like, "You don't know that whole thing. You don't know that Booker T promo."
I saw a tweet I saw a tweet saying it was like a fake Hogan account, and Hogan was saying, "Ooh, it's hot as hell down here."
Well, there's also somebody said I could see Hogan get to the gates, and you see Macho, Andre, and Sheik like, damn it, shit. But he's at the gates. The gate is closed. He ain't getting that gate. Although Sheik being up there is a little sketchy, but I'm still saying Sheik is up there too with Macho. And
I was surprised that they gave him the 10. They gave him the 10 bell salute on Raw. I know they did SmackDown, but they did it again on Raw, and his son was there.
I feel like they had to. I think AEW being as silent as it was until Saturday, which I was like, yeah, because AEW's not about that life, and Tony Khan ain't about that life.
But to be fair, like what Tony said, what Shivani said, TNT, he did help, energize wrestling on that network. So they should have said something. The network should have forced them to say something.
Yeah, I mean, it happened Thursday. They're like, wait till Saturday, have Shivani say it, because Shivani worked with them, and like, so I got that. Other people just piling on Tony Khan because he didn't say anything. I'm like, who gives a shit at the end of the day? Hogan's with Benoit. Is he though? I don't know. I feel like Benoit's real deep down.
I mean, Hogan didn't kill nobody. He just said he didn't want nobody dating his daughter.
He ain't with nobody. He ain't nobody like us.
We could relate to that.
Yeah, no. Hogan just didn't want to put people over. Hogan didn't want to put Sting over clean at Starrcade '97.
Yeah, Hogan and killing Benoit and letting Benoit get all the stardom. No.
Yeah, I will say Benoit's in a completely different place right now than everybody else. That's our show. Thanks for watching, Jason. Good to see you again.
Likewise.
Update: Moody Irish Guy returns tomorrow at 8 a.m. Obviously, Tom is one of the guys who helped create this channel with myself and Jason. He's a third owner of a network that has no paperwork, but whatever. We recorded his show this afternoon. He's in Ireland. He's back home now. So we do his show this afternoon at 2:30, 7:30 his time. It is going to be available on YouTube tomorrow at 8 a.m. It is ready to go. It was a great show. He explained his absence. Why he's back in Ireland, not in America no more. But that's coming back. So very happy about that. So we now have 4 shows on this net. No, 1, 2, 3. 3 shows on the network. 3.
Yeah. And
then the comedy show, Live Free Laugh Hard, that's going to come back too with us. We're going to figure that out and talk about comedy and something else big happening in the fall, which I will wait to announce after Labor Day. So big things happening here. Very happy to be back. We will be back next Thursday. I know you're going to be at Gramercy for the Ringer Wrestling Show.
Yes. Looking forward to SummerSlam weekend. I'm not. Are you partaking in any SummerSlam events?
No.
Yeah, I was looking at prices to the tickets. They're kind of dropping, but
the drop. I just don't want to deal with MetLife.
Thank you. Like it's by far the worst stadium situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I go there as press and hate going there. And I don't have to go in the same entrance. I go in a different entrance. I park in a different parking lot. And it still sucks going there when I don't have to do the bullshit everybody else does. Mm-hmm. So I have no interest. There was the Hardys are having something in Rutherford on Friday night that I was thinking about checking out. But we'll see what happens. But at this point, I'm not watching night 1 because night 1 just seems like a waste. It's just kind of like night 2 seems to be the big night.
Yeah,
night 1 you can miss. But have fun on Thursday though. You're gonna see Bret Hart and his angry ass. Bill Goldberg. He's so hateful. It's hilarious.
Looking forward to it.
Our trainer Bruce, he'll be back on this Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Bruce is gonna be back. I know he was in Florida, and it rained in Florida. When it rains in Florida,
it rains.
Who knows? But Bruce will be back on Wednesday. So we're done here. For Jason, I'm Kahlil. Thanks so much for watching. We see you next Thursday night here on the Box Out.
Peace.
Peace.
This has been The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Kortner. Subscribe now for the best tri-state area basketball talk.